All right, this section is going to be on leaky gut. So this is something that a lot of you have probably heard about. Again, it's a bit of a catchphrase these days. So in essence, the gut membrane is only one cell thick. So when we're eating things that are inflammatory or that are laden with toxins like glyphosate, it can cause irritation in the gut lining and lead to these tiny little holes where food can get out of the gut into the rest of our system and cause havoc when it comes to our immune response. So that is one of the main reasons why we're seeing this massive uptake in autoimmune disorders and allergies. So what we want to do is we first and foremost want to identify and eliminate inflammatory foods. So doing a food allergy test can be really helpful. But often what I find is that we do often have some level of leaky gut, especially if you're going in to find out if you have some sort of food allergy, right? There's probably some sort of digestive symptoms that are bringing us down this path. So when you do the food allergy testing, then the foods that you're eating most frequently are then going to come up on the test because those are the things that are leaking out of your gut and that your immune system are currently actively sort of attacking. So instead of doing a food allergy test, what I want you to do is an elimination diet. And I know it's a little bit harder, it's a little more complicated, and a lot of people are not happy with it. But it's free and it's super effective, and you can do this. I believe in you. And maybe we can do it together as a group at some point also. So basically what an elimination diet is, there are different ways to do it, but how I typically have people do it is you eliminate the 5 most common food allergens. So that's gluten, dairy, soy, corn, and eggs. You eliminate those for 2 to 4 weeks. Let's just say 2 to start. And then you start adding them in one by one. And I typically recommend that you add in the one that you crave the most first. And that's likely going to be the one that might be the most problematic for you. And again, I'm sorry, I don't eat gluten or dairy. I grew up in Brooklyn. I literally cried when I had to give up gluten, and then I didn't have to give up dairy until after I had Remy, and I gave it up for nursing and brought it back in, and I was like, oh, that's bad. But I feel so much better not eating them that I still avoid pizza. So that means a lot, yeah. Anyway, so you bring them back one by one and you see how your system is actually responding once they've been out of your system for a while. That doesn't mean that you won't ever be able to eat them again or that we can't find ways to help hack it. Like if I'm back in Brooklyn and I really want everything bagel, cream cheese, flax, tomato, and onion, just as an example per se, I will do that from time to time. I'll take a bunch of digestive enzymes, probiotics, and some activated charcoal. And, it's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world either. So we will get into how to hack it later on, but first we've got to identify the main source of inflammation and get them out of your diet. So if you can't do all 5 of those allergens, I really recommend that you start with gluten and dairy. And also while you're doing it, please try and reduce sugar, because sugar really feeds pathogenic bacteria and yeast within the gut and causes a bunch of trouble. So these things often cause a lot of inflammation. Gluten particularly can be very inflammatory for the brain. And we can go into all of the whole gluten hype in a different video. But for this one, I want you to start thinking about doing an elimination diet. Maybe get a plan, maybe get some friends together, in our group, and start trying to figure out what your main causes of inflammation in your gut are. And ideally, you give it a try. This is what I always tell my patients. Either you give it a try and you feel so much better that you're willing to give up these foods, or you give it a try and you know that you feel good and it's not a problem. So either way, it's a win-win. It's just a couple weeks and I have faith in you. If you need any recipe suggestions, let me know and I can try and put some up. I'm a big cook. And yeah, so next I will give some recommendations on just general diet and some things that you can do for a leaky gut. But really for today, just start thinking about doing an elimination diet. Start thinking about the things that make you feel good when you eat them and have more energy. And then the other things that might cause you to feel more sluggish, more brain foggy, crave more sweets or more coffee. those things are really impacting your system in a negative way. And I know it seems like a minor thing, but trust me, this is it. This is the meat and potatoes of health.